Hello family, this is James, and today I'm going to share something that completely changed my life. You know that feeling of always chasing money but never catching up? I've been there. 15 years ago, I was sleeping on the floor of a small apartment and barely had money to eat. That's when I discovered the ancient secrets of Solomon, the richest and wisest man who ever lived. Before revealing these transformative secrets, I need to ask you a question. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have the Midas touch, while others constantly struggle with financial difficulties? The answer is hidden between the lines of Solomon's writings, and it's nothing like you imagine. What I'm going to share today aren't those basic tips you've heard 1,000 times. These are profound principles I discovered after years of studying ancient texts and applying them to my own life. Principles that took me from sleeping on the floor to running 3 successful companies. But beware. If you're looking for magic formulas or get-rich-quick schemes, this video isn't for you. What I'm going to share requires commitment and a profound change in mindset. As Solomon said, "The blessing of the Lord brings wealth without adding any trouble to it." In the next few minutes, I'll reveal the 7 secrets that Solomon left encoded in his writings. The 3rd secret, in particular, is so powerful that it completely changed my perspective on money and abundance. Stay until the end, because I'm going to share a special revelation that connects all these principles. Prepare your notebook, open your heart, and let's embark on this transformative journey together. And don't forget to hit the bell and leave your like, because each secret I'm going to reveal is worth more than gold. Shall we begin? The first secret I discovered in Solomon's writings is what I call the invisible garden principle. Many know the verse, "The diligent will rule, while the lazy will be put to forced labor," but few understand its true depth. Let me tell you something personal. When I was at my lowest point, I realized I was cultivating the wrong garden. You know that story about the gardener who watered a dead plant every day, hoping it would sprout? That's exactly what I was doing with my investments and businesses. Solomon teaches us that before we can harvest, we need to understand the soil. It's not about working harder, it's about working in the right place. I'll share a technique I developed based on this principle, the hidden talents mapping. Every day for 21 days, I wrote down 3 things people naturally asked me for help with. They weren't necessarily things I considered valuable, but they were seeds the universe was planting in my path. That's how I discovered my true fertile soil. I realized people always came to me for help organizing their ideas and creating strategies. I had this natural gift, but I was too busy trying to copy others' success. When I started cultivating this gift, opportunities began to arise naturally. Here's a practical exercise for you. Take your notebook now and write down 3 situations where people spontaneously came to you for help in the last week. It may seem simple, but there lies the seed of your abundance. And there's more. Solomon also teaches us that the sluggard craves and gets nothing, but the desires of the diligent are fully satisfied. The difference is that now you'll be diligent in the right garden, not wasting energy on infertile soil. Before revealing the 2nd secret, which will show you how to multiply the fruits of this garden, I want you to share in the comments, what is your natural talent that you might be underestimating? Your answer could inspire others who are watching. The 2nd secret is what I call the honey and lion code, inspired by 2 seemingly unconnected passages from Solomon's writings. Remember the story of Samson, who found honey inside a dead lion? That story carries one of the greatest lessons about wealth I've ever discovered. I'm going to share something I've never told in public. In 2012, I lost everything in a failed investment. It was my dead lion. It seemed like the end, but it was right there, in what seemed like total defeat, that I found my greatest opportunity. The honey was hidden in the failure. Solomon teaches us that gold and silver are purified in fire. But what few realize is that he's not just talking about precious metals, he's revealing a universal principle of wealth creation. Every obstacle carries within itself the seed of an even greater opportunity. I developed a technique I call the lion inversion. For every problem you face, there is a group of people who would pay to have that problem solved. Sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? Let me give you a practical example. When I was broke, My biggest problem was organizing my debts and creating a financial recovery plan. I spent months studying and developing spreadsheets and systems. Today, ironically, I'm paid to teach these same strategies to struggling companies. The lion turned into honey. Here's a challenge for you. Take your biggest current problem and ask yourself, who else faces this? How can I turn my solution into value for others? This is the key to transforming adversity into abundance. And there's more. Solomon mentions that the sluggard says, "There's a lion outside." Most people use obstacles as an excuse not to act. But you, who are watching this far, have already shown that you're different. You're ready to turn your lions into honey. The third secret is what I call the 7 streams principle. Based on a profound interpretation of the verse, where Solomon talks about casting your bread upon the waters. This is the secret that literally transformed my financial life, and very few people understand its true essence. I'm going to share something that happened to me in 2015. I had a small clothing store and was struggling to keep the doors open. One day, I received a unique inspiration. Instead of focusing only on selling, I started creating 7 different streams of value. In addition to sales, I implemented style consulting, subscription club, partnerships with local influencers, fashion workshops, personal shopper service, loyalty program, and resale of pre-owned pieces. The result? In 6 months, my revenue tripled, not because I sold more clothes, but because I created 7 different streams of abundance. Solomon teaches us, sow your seed in the morning, and at evening let your hands not be idle. He was revealing to us the power of intelligent diversification. I then developed what I call the 7 streams matrix. For any business or skill you have, there are at least 7 different ways to generate value and, consequently, income. It's not about dispersing yourself, but about creating intelligent synergies. I'll give you a practical exercise. Take your main current source of income and list 7 different ways to create value from it. They can be products, services, knowledge, partnerships. Let your mind flow. The secret is that each stream should strengthen the others. And here's something I discovered recently. When you have 7 streams working, the universe usually gifts you with an 8th that you never imagined. It's as if abundance generates more abundance, exactly as Solomon taught. The 4th secret is what I call the code of the wise ants. And this is where most people miss one of Solomon's greatest revelations about wealth. Remember when he said, "Go to the ant, you sluggard"? What I discovered goes far beyond simply work hard. Let me share a personal experience. In 2018, I was working 16 hours a day, completely exhausted. That's when I had an epiphany studying ant behavior. They don't work more than necessary. They work smarter through systems. What few realize is that Solomon wasn't just talking about work, but about creating systems that work for you. Ants create pheromone trails that others automatically follow. They build structures that continue to function even when they're... I then developed the 5 automations protocol. I identified the 5 activities that consumed most of my time and created systems to automate. For example, I transformed my sales processes into automatic funnels, created templates for repetitive tasks, and developed a network of partnerships that generated leads without my direct involvement. Here's a transformative exercise. List your 5 most time-consuming activities. Now, for each one, ask yourself, how can I create a system that does this for me? It doesn't have to be complex. It can be a template, a documented process, or a strategic partner. I'll tell you something surprising. When I implemented this, my income increased by 40%, while my working time was cut in half. As Solomon said, "The sluggard craves and gets nothing, but the desires of the diligent are fully satisfied." True diligence is in creating systems, not in working to exhaust. And there's more. I discovered that each system you create becomes an asset that generates value perpetually, exactly like ant structures continue to function for generations. The 5th secret is what I call the new wine principle, inspired by the passage where Solomon talks about not putting new wine into old wineskins. This secret revolutionized my way of thinking about wealth and is possibly the most counterintuitive of all. I'll share something that happened to me in 2020. I was having success with my businesses, but felt that something was stuck. That's when I realized I was using old wineskins, outdated mental structures, to try to contain new wine, modern opportunities. What Solomon was really teaching us is that we need to constantly renew our containers, our beliefs, strategies, and methods to accommodate new blessings. I then developed what I call the quarterly renewal ritual. Every 3 months, I do a complete inventory of my beliefs about money, success, and abundance. I ask myself, what old ideas are limiting my growth? That's how I discovered that I was still carrying limiting beliefs from my poor childhood. Here's a powerful exercise. Write down all the phrases you heard about money growing up. Things like, money is dirty, rich people are evil, money doesn't bring happiness. Now, for each limiting belief, create a new positive and true version for you. The most incredible thing is that when I started doing this, I realized that my capacity to receive abundance naturally increased. As Solomon taught, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Our mental containers determine our ability to prosper. And there's more. I discovered that this principle applies not only to beliefs, but also to relationships, habits, and even the physical environment. Sometimes, we need to renew our social circle, our routine, or our space to accommodate a new level of prosperity. Before revealing the 6th secret, which will show you how to create a true revolution in your abundance mindset, reflect. What old wineskins are you still using in your life? What old beliefs need to be renewed to accommodate the new level of prosperity you desire? The 6th secret is what I call the 3 networks code, based on Solomon's wisdom about how a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. This secret completely changed my understanding of how true wealth is built. I'm going to reveal something I've never shared before. In 2021, I was focused only on traditional networking, the kind with business cards and corporate events. That's when I discovered that Solomon operated with 3 different levels of connections, which I call the 3 networks of abundance. The first network is the sowers, people who are at the same level as you, with whom you exchange experiences and resources. The second is the mentors, those who are where you want to be. The third, and most powerful, is the network of heirs, those whom you teach and guide. I then developed the relational weaving system. I dedicate specific time to cultivating each of these networks. For example, every Thursday, I connect with 2 sowers. Once a month, I seek guidance from a mentor, and weekly, I dedicate time to guiding 3 heirs. Here's a transformative exercise. Map your current connections in the 3 categories. Where are the gaps? Who do you need to add at each level? The secret is to keep the 3 networks balanced and constantly expanding. The most fascinating thing is that when I started operating like this, I realized that wealth flowed more naturally. As Solomon taught, a generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. Each network strengthens the others, creating a virtuous cycle of abundance. And there's more. I discovered that when you keep these 3 networks active, opportunities start to appear magically. In fact, it's not magic. It's the natural result of having a well-structured connection system. The 7th and most powerful secret is what I call the empty altar principle, based on one of Solomon's deepest lessons about the true nature of abundance. This is the secret that ties all the previous ones together and reveals the true purpose of wealth. I'll share something that changed my life in 2023. I was at the peak of financial success, but felt empty. That's when I understood the deeper meaning of the altar Solomon built. It wasn't about sacrifice, but about divine purpose. What I discovered is that wealth without purpose is like an empty altar. Solomon didn't accumulate wealth for the sake of accumulating. Every resource had a higher purpose. I then developed what I call the abundant purpose matrix. For each source of income, I establish a higher purpose that benefits others. I'll tell you something personal. I started allocating 30% of all my profits to social impact projects. But not randomly. I created a system where each project aligns with my unique skills and resources. For example, I use my business experience to mentor young entrepreneurs from underprivileged communities. Here's a powerful exercise. List your sources of income and, next to each one, write down what positive impact it can generate. It doesn't have to be grand. You can start small, but it should be meaningful and aligned with your values. The most incredible thing is that when I started operating like this, abundance began to flow in unexpected ways. As Solomon taught, honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops, then your barns will be filled to overflowing. It's not about giving to receive, but about aligning yourself with the natural flow of abundance. And there's more. I discovered that when you operate with purpose, all the techniques and strategies we learned in the previous secrets are in. It's as if the universe conspires in your favor when you're aligned with a higher purpose. Now that we've reached the end of this journey through the 7 secrets, I want to extend a special invitation to you. How do you intend to use your abundance to positively impact the world? What will be your family? We've reached the end of this revealing journey, but in truth, the 7 secrets of Solomon I shared today aren't just about material wealth. They're about a life of full abundance, with purpose and meaning. Remember, the true treasure isn't in the gold we accumulate, but in the wisdom we apply. Solomon didn't become the richest man of his time by it was through the consistent application of these divine principles that he achieved unparalleled prosperity. Now, the invitation is for you. What steps will you take today to begin your journey towards true abundance? Which of these secrets touched your heart the most? Don't let this be just another video you watch and forget. Take action now. Start applying the first secret in your life. And if you commit to doing this, I guarantee that in 30 days your perspective on wealth and purpose will have completely changed. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to. Hit the bell to not miss the next videos in this series, where I'll delve deeper into each of these secrets and give practical steps to implement. Remember, your journey to abundance begins now. In the comments, share which of the 7 secrets resonated with you the most and why. I'll be here, personally responding and rooting for your success. May Solomon's wisdom illuminate your path, and may you discover not only wealth, but the true purpose of your life. A big hug from your friend James, and see you in the next video. May God bless you abundantly.